never thought a small piece of paper could break a marriage, but that's exactly what happened. A single receipt, folded once, tucked inside a shopping bag I didn't recognize. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, but somehow it told me everything my husband had been hiding from me for over a year. The store printed at the top of that receipt wasn't a place I shopped. It was expensive. The kind of store you don't walk into by accident. The kind of place you plan for. The kind of place you visit with someone important. At first, I told myself to relax. I told myself I was tired. I told myself I was imagining things. But then I looked closer and my breathing slowed without me realizing it. The name on the credit card wasn't mine. It wasn't my husband's either. It was my mother-in-law. S. I stood there for a long moment, holding that receipt like it weighed more than it should. I told myself maybe she bought a gift. Maybe my husband asked her to help him with something. Maybe this was nothing. Then I saw the item list. 2 dresses. One size small, one size extra small. Neither of them my size. Perfume I had never worn. Shoes in a color I hated and had said out loud more than once. And then I saw the date. That was the moment something inside me went quiet, because that date was the same day my husband told me he was working late. The same day he didn't answer my calls. The same night he came home smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. I didn't cry. I didn't panic. I didn't scream. I sat in the driver's seat of his car and stared at the steering wheel until my hands stopped shaking. Deep down, I already knew. And now I had proof. My name is Claire. I had been married to my husband Ethan for 11 years. We met in college. We grew up together. We struggled together. We built a life that looked solid from the outside. And part of that life included his mother, Linda. Linda was the kind of woman people called impressive. She wasn't loud or obvious. She didn't need to raise her voice to control a room. She smiled when she crossed boundaries. She paid for things without being asked. She gave advice that felt more like instructions. She had money, real money, old money, the kind of money that made people listen even when she wasn't speaking. She had added Ethan as an authorized user on her credit card years ago, saying it was for emergencies. At first, it really was. Car trouble, a sudden expense, a business, dinner. But over time, emergencies seemed to happen more often. I trusted them both. I trusted my husband. I trusted his mother. And trust has a way of blinding you to things you don't want to see. Looking back now, the signs were everywhere. Ethan started coming home later than usual. He smelled different, not bad, just unfamiliar. He laughed less with me and more at his phone. His patience grew thin over small things. His phone stayed face down on the table, always within reach. Linda changed too. She became colder, more critical. She commented on my clothes, my work, my choices. She made small jokes about how men needed excitement, about how marriages got boring if women stopped trying. One time she smiled at me and said that stability alone didn't keep a man interested. I laughed it off. I always did. I didn't know. She was already protecting a secret that involved all 3 of us. The shopping bag was left in Evan's car because he was careless, because he was comfortable, because he never imagined I would find it. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't suspicious that day. I was simply returning his keys to the glove compartment when I saw the bag on the floor. I picked it up without thinking. I opened it, and that was when everything changed. I drove home in silence. I placed the receipt on the kitchen counter and stared at it for a long time. I felt something strange rise up in me, something calm and sharp at the same time. I didn't confront him that night. I cooked dinner. I listened to his stories. I watched him lie to my face with ease, and I realized something important. Confrontation gives liars a chance to prepare. I didn't want excuses. I didn't want rehearsed apologies. I wanted the truth, and I wanted it clean. So I waited. Over the next few weeks. I paid attention in a way I never had before. I watched patterns. I listened to what wasn't being said. I noticed how often Linda and Ethan spoke in private. I noticed how relaxed he was when he thought I wasn't looking. I gathered receipts. Not just paper ones, messages, bank statements, travel details. Every charge made on Linda's credit card that had nothing to do with emergencies and everything to do with indulgence. Then I saw her. The other woman wasn't a mystery for long. Her name was Megan. She worked at Ethan's company. She was younger, confident. The kind of woman who knew exactly how much attention she was getting. Her social media filled in the gaps Ethan never would have admitted to. Photos at places he claimed he didn't like. Restaurants we supposedly couldn't afford. Jewelry I had seen on that receipt. And then I saw the picture that made my stomach drop. Megan smiling, shopping bags in hand, standing next to Linda. Caption said something simple about loving days like that. That was the moment the full truth landed. This wasn't just an affair. This was planned, supported, funded. Linda didn't just know about the relationship. She approved of it. She encouraged it. She paid for it. Every gift, every meal, every moment that made me feel smaller in my own marriage. I wasn't just the wife being cheated on. I was the obstacle they wanted out of the way. I still didn't confront them. Instead, I remembered something important. 2 years earlier, Linda had asked me to help manage her finances. She said she trusted me. She said I was organized and responsible. She wanted help keeping track of accounts and statements. That included the credit card. The one funding my humiliation. I didn't argue. I didn't hesitate. I didn't warn anyone. I simply called the bank. I canceled the card. No drama. No explanation. Just canceled. Then I went about my day like nothing had happened. Because I knew something they didn't. When people lose access to money they didn't earn, panic arrives quickly. And it did. Within days, things started to unravel. Ethan came home early one evening, distracted and tense. He barely touched his food. His phone buzzed constantly. Linda called me the next morning. Her voice was tight, controlled but afraid. She said something was wrong with her card. I kept my tone. Calm. I said maybe the bank flagged unusual spending. I said they would sort it out. There was a long silence on the line. She knew, they all did. And that was the moment I realized this was no longer about catching them. It was about watching what happened. When the support system they built on lies suddenly disappeared. That was only the beginning. Asterisk. The next few days felt strangely calm on the surface. Inside, everything was shifting. Ethan stopped pretending he wasn't nervous. He paced the house more. He checked his phone constantly. He left rooms to take calls. When I asked simple questions, his answers came too fast, like he had rehearsed them in his head before I even spoke. Linda called again. This time she wasn't pretending something technical had gone wrong. Her voice carried irritation now, mixed with urgency. She asked if I had spoken to the bank. She asked if I had moved any money. She asked questions that told me exactly how desperate she was to fix something she no longer controlled. I stayed CLM. I stayed polite. I stayed exactly the woman they underestimated. I told her the bank sometimes reviewed unusual patterns. I told her it could take time. I told her there was nothing to worry about. And I meant it. Just not in the way she thought. Without that card, the fantasies started cracking. Megan felt it first. The dinners stopped. The gifts stopped. The spontaneous trip stopped. The easy yes to everything suddenly turned into hesitation. She started asking questions. Ethan started lying more. And lies are heavy. They change how people move, how they speak, how they look at you. One evening, Ethan came home later than usual, but not relaxed like before. He looked cornered. He sat across from me at the table and watched me in a way that felt unfamiliar. Finally, he asked if everything was okay. I looked up and smiled. I said everything was fine. That smile haunted him more than anger ever could. Because calm means someone already knows the truth. Linda tried another approach. She came over unannounced. She brought food. She complimented the house. She spoke sweetly, carefully choosing every word like she was walking on thin ice. Then she mentioned the credit card again. She laughed lightly and said it must have been a misunderstanding. I met her eyes and said sometimes misunderstandings reveal patterns people don't want seen. Her smile faded just for a second. That was enough. I could see it then. They weren't upset because I canceled a card. They were upset because I had interrupted a system that depended on my silence. Ethan didn't last much longer. A week later, he broke. Not with a confession, not with honesty, with defensiveness. He accused me of being distant. He asked why I was acting different. He said he felt like I was pulling away. I listened, and then I said the truth. I said I knew. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't list evidence, I didn't accuse. I simply said I knew everything. The color drained from his face. In that moment, I saw fear, not guilt, not regret. Fear. Fear of consequences. Fear of exposure. Fear of losing comfort. That told me everything I needed to know. He tried to explain. He tried to minimize. He tried to say it wasn't serious, that it didn't mean anything, that it was complicated. I stopped him. I told him something simple. I told him betrayal doesn't start when someone touches another person. It starts when loyalty stops mattering. He had nothing left to say. That night, he slept on the couch. 2 days later, he packed a bag. Linda called, furious this time. She said I had gone too far. She said I embarrassed the family. She said I should have handled things privately. I told her she had handled things privately, just not honestly. There was silence. And then she hung up. The house felt lighter after Ethan left. Not sad, not broken. Just lighter. I walked through each room and realized how much of myself I had been shrinking without noticing. How much energy I spent keeping peace that only benefited others. I didn't chase him. I didn't beg. I didn't ask for explanations. I already had, because the truth was clear now. They didn't just betray me. They underestimated me, and they were about to learn what happens when the woman holding everything together finally lets go. This was only the beginning. Asterisk after Ethan left, the phone calls multiplied. I didn't answer most of them. When I did, I kept my voice steady and brief. I refused to argue. I refused to explain myself to people who already knew exactly what they had done. That silence made them uncomfortable. People who rely on manipulation need reactions. They need tears, anger, chaos. Silence gives them nothing to hold on to. Megan didn't stay quiet for long. Without the money, without the protection, without Linda smoothing everything over behind the scenes, she panicked. She called Ethan repeatedly. She demanded answers. She wanted reassurance that she hadn't ruined her life for nothing, but affairs survive on fantasy, not reality. And reality had arrived. Ethan tried to balance both worlds for a while. He promised her things he couldn't deliver. He told her he just needed time. He said everything would calm down soon. It didn't, because the more pressure he felt, the more his cracks showed. At home, he was tense and defensive. With her, he was unreliable and distant. And Linda, for the first time in her life, couldn't fix everything with a phone call or a payment. She tried to reopen the credit card. The bank asked questions. About spending habits, about locations, about who authorized what. Questions she wasn't used to answering. And when people like Linda lose control, they don't reflect, they blame. She blamed me. She told family members I was unstable. She hinted that I was emotional. She suggested I was trying to punish everyone instead of handling things like an adult. What she didn't expect was that the truth was already leaking. Someone mentioned seeing Ethan with another woman months ago. Someone else talked about Linda shopping with a young woman they didn't recognize. Stories overlapped. Timelines matched. The room grew quiet. That was the moment the secret stopped being theirs. Alone. Ethan tried one last time to talk to me. He showed up at the house when he knew I'd be home alone. He looked smaller than I remembered, tired, worn down by choices he thought would never catch up to him. He said he made a mistake, He said he was confused. He said he never meant to hurt me. I listened carefully. Then I said something he wasn't ready to hear. I told him this wasn't one mistake, it was a pattern. A pattern of lies. A pattern of comfort over commitment. A pattern of choosing what was easy instead of what was right. He cried. I didn't, because by then, I had already grieved the man. I thought he was. What stood in front of me was someone else entirely. Linda tried one. Final approach. Her tone changed. She wasn't angry anymore. She was soft. She said she wanted to make things right. She said family should stick together. She said none of this needed to be permanent. I told her something calmly and clearly. I told her she didn't just lose a credit card. She lost access to my life. There was a long pause. Then she said nothing, and for the first time since I met her, she had no control left to use. That was when I understood something important. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to destroy anyone. All I had to do was step out of the role they assigned me. The supportive wife, the accommodating daughter-in-law, woman who kept everything running quietly in the background. Once I stepped out of that role, everything they built on my silence collapsed on its own, and I walked forward knowing this was only the end of the beginning. Asterisk weeks passed, and life settled into a rhythm I didn't recognize at first. It was slower, quieter, more honest. I woke up without checking my phone. I ate meals without tension sitting in my chest. I moved through my days without wondering what lie I would uncover next. For the first time in years, my mind felt clear. Ethan didn't handle that well. Without me managing the details of his life, things started falling apart. Bills were late. Appointments were missed. His work suffered. The confidence he once carried disappeared, replaced by restlessness and frustration. People noticed not because of the affair, but because he no longer had someone quietly fixing everything behind the scenes. Megan didn't stay patient. She had expected stability. She'd expected security. She'd expected to be chosen. Instead, she got uncertainty. The attention faded. The excitement faded. The fantasy collapsed under the weight of reality. She left without drama. No explanation. No closure. Just absence. And that was when Ethan finally understood what he had risked. Everything for not love, not a future, but temporary validation that disappeared the moment it became inconvenient. Linda aged in a way money couldn't fix. Her calls went unanswered. Invitations slowed. Conversations became short and polite. People still smiled at her, but the warmth was gone. She still had influence in some rooms, but not the control she once enjoyed. Not the certainty that everyone would fall in line. For a woman who lived through power and perception, that quiet distance hurt more than confrontation ever could. One afternoon, months later, a letter arrived. It was from Linda. Not a text. Not a voicemail. A letter. It was brief. No excuses. No blame. Just a single sentence admitting she had raised her son to believe loyalty was optional. I folded it and placed it in a drawer. Some apologies aren't meant to restart relationships. They're meant to end denial. Time kept moving, and one day, without realizing when it happened, I stopped thinking about them. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I felt neutral. That was the moment. I knew I had one. Not because they suffered, but because they no longer mattered. I changed things. Slowly, I rearranged my space. I changed routines. I traveled alone. I learned what I liked without compromise. I stopped over-explaining, stopped apologizing. Stopped shrinking myself to make others comfortable. The woman I became after betrayal wasn't harder. She was clearer. One ordinary afternoon, I ran into Ethan. At a grocery store. No warning, no preparation. He looked older, tired, uncertain. We made eye contact. He nodded. I nodded back. No anger. No conversation. No closure speech. I walked away feeling nothing. And that told me everything I needed to know. Power doesn't come from control. Comes from freedom. From knowing you can leave. From choosing peace over chaos. From understanding that some people don't lose you in one moment, they lose you slowly. The moment you stop explaining, the moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop caring. They thought I canceled a credit card. What I really canceled was my place in their story. And once I did that, my life finally became my own.